Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another session here in Readers Magnet's featured author interview. My name is Leah, and I will be your host for today. And with me is one of the Readers Magnet's featured author, and of course, one of the most valuable author we have. And today, she will be sharing to us what this book is all about, her as an author, and of course, the inspiration behind her writing this story. All right, everyone, let's all welcome our one and only Miss Renee Servello, author of the book Freckles Finds a Forever Home. All right. Hello, Renee. How are you doing? It's
Hi,
good to see
Leah.
you
I'm great. Thanks. I'm great.
again. That's good. That's good. All right, Renee. So, yes, this is going to be another session to talk one of your books. So, I'm very excited to have this discussion because again, it's going to be an interesting one. All right. So, but before we do that, I'm going to have you introduce yourself for the viewers to know who Miss Renee Servello is.
Sure. Started off in Fairbanks, Alaska. That's where I was born. And from there, it was West Texas. And from West Texas, it was Venezuela. After Venezuela, it was Miami. And in 1978, it was Houston. And we've been here ever since. And we're
Great
surrounded by
places.
millions of family members. Everybody else is here too.
Wow, a big family you have, but
Big.
full of happiness. Ah, that's nice. Thank you so much for that, Renee. Okay, and yes, this is the moment that we've been waiting for because it's now time to know more information about Freckles Finds a Forever Home. All right, so yes, Renee, will you please tell us what this book is exactly all about?
Sure. One Mother's Day, I had asked our daughter, I said, why don't you get me a rabbit for Mother's Day? And she said, sure, what color? And I said, what do you mean, what color? And she says, yeah, I can go to the toy store and get you whatever color you want. And I said, no, 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 no. A real rabbit. I
Not
had
a
had a
toy.
rabbit growing up. And so, anyway, she got us a Dutch lop rabbit. And that's the little rabbits that have the floppy ears.
Wow, that is so cute.
And I don't
Is
think
this
people realize what great house pets they are, but more than that,
mm,
the personalities. I mean, all of them are different, of course, but the two that I have had a ton of personality, and they just keep you in stitches. If you have a rabbit in the house, it is never, ever dull. They are so much fun. And my husband did not grow up with pets like I did. I had every pet known to man. So he wasn't too sure about this request of mine. But anyway, Freckles arrived and he fell in love with her. I fell in love with her. I think she fell in love with us. We were a
whole family?
tight little knit group there. And she had so many escapades with us through the years. She just kept us in stitches. But one of the things was she particularly liked to hang around my husband when he was doing certain things. So I cook in
Hmm,
the evening and he will,
very clingy.
yes, and he will
Oh,
load
that's
the
sweet.
dishwasher. So whenever she heard the dishwasher open, she would fly into the kitchen, get up on her hind legs, and watch every plate, every fork that he put into that dishwasher. And she was such a happy bunny after that. And the other thing about her is that she loved people. So if she heard
Wow.
the doorbell, she would knock us down getting to the front door, standing up on her hind legs, looking to see who would come into the house. And then once they got into the house and we all sat around, she would hop up in my lap and she would put her little head on my arm and she would follow everybody's conversations. Whoever was talking, that's who she was looking at. She loved people. And
Wow, that is so cute.
and people loved her, you know.
Right.
She really loved people. So she had a lot of escapades in our home through the years. And by the way, you know my consultant, Bob. And,
Uh-huh.
and at one point, he said to me, why don't you try a children's book? And I said, actually, I write all the time and I have a children's book. It's about our personal rabbit that lived with us. So
Uh-huh.
you can
Right.
thank Bob.
Your own story. Right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we can all thank Bob
Yes,
for
thanks to Bob.
suggesting that we get Freckles out there. So Freckles
Right.
is out there now. I think everybody knows about Freckles. I hope so.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for that, Renee. And wow. I can't really imagine to, have a happy bunny who really loves meeting people, love interactions, which is very sweet and clingy. Wow. And you know what, Renee? I must say that, creating this whole story would really, I mean, I must say, having a pet, let's start with that. Having a pet, nothing can really compare to, to the joy of coming home to, let's say, a loyal companion, besides having a family, right? I can tell that pets would can really offer you the unconditional love. At the same time, a pet can really do more than keeping your company. Pets may also, there's actually a lot of benefits, of having pets, right? It can,
Right. Sure.
based on research, it can really decrease, stress, improves heart health, because of course you'll be happy beside them, and even right now, when especially when families out there have kids, it can also help children, with their emotional and social skills, that emotion, that attachment. Wow, this is really amazing, Renee, and I can really tell that you've done great, on this book. Wow. Now, Renee, I'm very curious to know, what was your favorite part in this whole story?
Oh boy. Well, we had some funny stories with Freckles through the years because she was so tiny. She was only 4 pounds. And basically, rabbits feel more secure in the dark. So, what we didn't know
Mhm.
for the first few months of having her is that
Wow.
every time I opened the kitchen pantry door, she would
Mhm.
scoot in so fast to explore and be in the dark. And then I'd shut the door. And 8 hours later, we're going through the house still looking for little baby Freckles. And of course, they don't talk. So they, you just have to find them. And, whenever we would open the coat closet to throw something in or grab something, she would dart in there. So, I was constantly calling our daughter and son-in-law, get over here, help us. I hope she's not dead somewhere. You've got to come help us. And we would be in total panic city. And there'd be 4 adults racing through this house. And finally, I think it was my son-in-law that said, have you tried opening the closet doors? No. So then we learned if we couldn't find her, she was hiding in the closet.
Really loves to be in the dark all the time.
Yeah, yeah, the dark. So anyway,
Right.
there was always something going on with Freckles. And then taking her to the vet. Now this is funny. Little children hate to go to the doctors, right? That's just with all children. Well, pets are the same way. And so I just carried her, in my hand to go to the vets. And she would crawl up under my chin and she would not come out until I physically pulled her out when we got to the doctor's. I guess she felt safer under my chin for some reason. But rabbits, they're very interesting. They keep you laughing all the time. You just never know what she was going to be up to. She was so entertaining and so sweet.
Wow. Wow, that is priceless. That is priceless, Renee. And you know what, Renee? I can tell that you creating this book, it's not just about, sharing the experience you've had with Freckles, from the whole family member you have,
Mhm.
the happiness, the joy, the unconditional love, but it's also about, raising the importance to really know the proper way of caring, for pets,
Mhm.
knowing what they like to do, knowing what are the let's say the things that they don't want to do, because again, proper pet care, I must say that it's also a basis for, responsible pet ownership, and that is one of the most important thing. Wow.
Right,
Yes.
right.
And Renee, I also wanted to ask, because again, I'm seeing a lot of good reviews, positive feedback coming from your viewers. Now, what is the most, or what is that one thing that you consider as most important part that you wrote in this book?
Well, I think it shows that whether you want to adopt pets
Mm-hmm.
or children, that everyone's looking for love. So we adopted Freckles, but she brought love into our family and we gave her love. But then once the book was published, the surprising thing to me is that I started hearing from people, oh my gosh, we adopted a child, and reading about Freckles, it brought back memories of the day we adopted our child. It was the happiest day of our lives, and it brings it all back. Now, I have a cousin that adopted 4 children, all different ages, and one of her sons, every night she was telling me that, she'd go and she'd say, "Why is your light still on? You got to go to school tomorrow." And he would say, "Because I'm reading about Freckles." And she said, "Well, you know the story. You've read Freckles 1,000 times. Why are you still reading Freckles?" "Because, Mom, Freckles is me. I am Freckles.
Wow.
We're the same. We both found a family that wanted us." And
Wow.
then that sort of brought in a little tidal wave of other people looking at it like that. And that I was not expecting. That was totally unexpected. But it was nice. It was nice because I know how much my cousin and her husband have enjoyed their family that they adopted. And so it's good. It's all good. It's love.
Right. Wow. It is really love. It is really love, Renee. And you know what, really, I can say that, one of the why I must say that um let's say why is it very important to really, treat animals with care and respect? Because again, it's actually a vice versa, something like a vice versa thing. Because I must say that as human, or which is also, us as the in the top of food chain, we're also gifted, by the duty of taking care of animals, pets, whose outcomes are left in our hands, right? Because of these, we should also, educate ourselves as much as possible to really treat animals, with kindness, respect. Because after all, yes, your cousin is right. We are all living under the same sky.
Mhm.
Wow.
Exactly, exactly. That the pets and the children want the same thing we do.
Right, right. And again, there's actually a lot of benefits having pets right now. The benefits have extended to the society as well. That specific bond between humans and animals. I must say that it's not just good for human health, but it can also help, build, let's say, build a better community. People with pets often find that, activities with their companion animal also creates, this connection,
Right,
special connection we have with other people. Wow.
right.
And also with pets. Wow, and this is awesome, Renee. This is awesome. Now, Renee, I wanted to ask, having this freckles, do you still have freckles right now?
She has passed on to bunny heaven. We will see her
Oh,
again.
gosh,
All
I
of my
believe it.
animals have gone to heaven.
Okay.
There's been a lot of them.
But one of the most important thing that she did here on earth was really, giving this unconditional love to you, the happiness, the memorable things. Wow. And that
Yeah,
is something that we can still be, happy with, right?
I think any of your pets are very special, and they blend into your family. They become family members, and when you lose them, it's tough, very tough. But
Right,
you
right.
just have to remember you'll all reunite one day, and it'll be more love.
Exactly, exactly. And I couldn't agree more on that, Renee. Now, Renee, one last question.
Mhm.
Are there any surprising moment that you have encountered with the whole, journey, with your whole writing process? Are there any things that, hey, I'm very surprised that I created this book, and there are really things that, wow, I was able to know about this. Are there any surprising moment like that?
Well, when it was published, I had no idea because I had never written a children's book before. So the
Hmm.
feedback was very, very positive. And then, like I said, when we began to hear from families that had adopted children, I had not even thought of that aspect of it. And so that made me feel very warm that I had done something, that I'm very, very proud of.
Right.
So, and then, I hear from children and my own grandchildren, and, they're just amazed. You wrote this? You're Nene. I'm Nene to them. Nene, you write books? Yeah.
That's cute. Right, especially when you can share, these kind of specific stuff through your grandchildren, and wow, that is awesome. That is amazing, Renee. And again, Renee, thank you so much. But here, before we end our live session, will you please show it to our viewers? Freckles,
Yes.
Freckles, your
Yes.
book. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. There you have it, everyone. Freckles finds a forever home. Thank you so much for that, Renee. And again, Renee, from the bottom of our heart, Readers Magnet really loves you. And also, we are very thankful and happy that you've also given us this opportunity to, be part of your journey, not just you reaching your goal as an author, but of course, sharing this whole story to among as many people. Wow, thank you so much for that, Renee. And you are truly an inspiration. So, yes, everyone, for those who are watching, please do grab Ms. Renee Servello's copy of her book. And again, that is available in Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and please do also follow her social media platform. Her website, that is www.reneeservello.com. And again, Renee, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And again, as we say it here in Reader's Magnet, we share your story with the world. Thank you so much, Renee.
Thank you, Leah, and Liz behind the scenes. I appreciate it today.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of fun.